So as we were saying to start off the show yesterday, yeah, Dwyane Wade was in a little bit of a Twitter storm yesterday after showing support for Nick Cannon, who was fired by CBS, anti-Semitic remarks. Dwyane Wade said to him, "We are with you. Keep leading." He then clarified his tweet, saying he was not supporting or condoning Nick Cannon, what he specifically said, but I had expressed my support behind him owning the content and the brand he helped created. Which Nick Cannon was fired for his remarks, but is also still in a fight with CBS because he wants his rights to Wild 'N Out. He then tweets, "I was too quick to respond without being fully informed about his hurtful anti-Semitic remarks. As all of you know, I have zero tolerance for any hate speech." So, look, this all kind of happened over the span of a couple hours yesterday, Leroy. Obviously, his first tweet is the one that looks the worst because of what Nick Cannon was fired for, and saying that we are with you, keep leading. And you don't want hate speech like that leading the charge. I think a lot, we saw some of this with the Deshaun Jackson stuff. I think that when you start inflecting stuff like that into a time where we're all trying to be, I think the whole thing with the Black Lives Matter movement and all this type of stuff was we're starting to see, at least from a certain area, like people who want change trying to be united on all fronts, especially all races who want actual change, especially with all the heinous stuff that has been happening to with police brutality and all these arrests and all that stuff, whatnot. So when I saw that from Dwyane yesterday, throwing support behind what Nick Cannon after the day that he had, I was like, I think that was going to go great for him. Now, like you were saying last segment, though, with Dwyane, okay? This is a guy who has built up such a resume of being great in the community, of being an olive branch, of being a guy, by the way, who's recently had a very public showing of love for his trans daughter, which is a community that gets a ton of hate, basically from every group. People throwing their phobias and their hate and all that type of stuff at the trans and LGBT community. Almost no matter what race, color, or creed you are, there's a lot of hate that goes towards that. And he is raising a teenage trans daughter in a world where there's a lot of that stuff coming at him from all sides. He's been publicly dragged for thinking that this is right. He's been called a terrible parent for saying that it's something that his child doesn't understand. Why would you support this? All that type of stuff. These are the types of things that he's been just leading, that he's just been dealing with this year. So, like you were saying last segment, this is my guy. Like this is a guy that this is a guy who's been great down here, has given us a lot of joy, and has been great on all these areas for a long, long time. And yeah, it was a bad blunder yesterday because Dwyane is such a powerful voice, and because Dwyane is usually very social media savvy, like that's kind of his bag. He's usually one of the guys that's out in front of this the most. He's the guy who convinced LeBron to join Twitter. Like you want to think that these guys are informed on everything, on all things before you hit send, especially because of the environment that we live in today, where one Twitter mistake will get you burned and will get you get the mob after you. But we're not perfect. And I was I think that if that was true, that he was just going out there and he was supporting Nick Cannon for trying to get his intellectual property, I kind of buy it because it just jives more with his character than it does saying, "Oh, you think that Dwyane Wade actually believes anything that's anti-Semitic?" I just don't. I don't know. That doesn't speak to the guy that we've all come to. I think follow, support, all that type of stuff throughout his entire life, his adult life.
I mean, it's unfortunate that here's where we are in society, is that it's almost like people scour Twitter in hopes that you can take something that somebody says and make it mean something evil, even though it may not. And I think from what we know of D Wade, you almost have to believe, what he was saying and what he meant by that. I don't believe that we should have to always go back and explain everything that we did because somebody needs clarification. That dude's 30-something years old, almost 40 years old. He's had 40 years to build what type of person he is. And if he says something and we take it to mean something else, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and ask before I pass judgment. And we don't live, it's, I think that the way people are now is that whenever somebody does something bad or says something wrong, that means that the world has to turn their back on them, right? Yep. Meaning that if you make a mistake, say something stupid, do something stupid, do something heinous, whatever it may be, that all of a sudden, all the friends that you had for
all the
most
good that
of
you
your
built
life
up
has to turn their back on you. And my question is this: is it possible to support somebody and not support an act? So if you have a friend that says something stupid or heinous and you know who that person is, can you support that person even though you don't agree with what they did? I mean, you can follow that. You can follow that theory all the way up through.
It's one of those things yesterday where it's just like, people are asking, what do you guys say about your guy D Wade? Oh, he's going to lose his streets. Like, I don't. This is all happening before he even tweets. I'm just like, I don't know, kind of want to hear what he has to say about it first. Like, it's been an hour. And this is one of the things where the world is moving so fast, and you just kind of have the mob just sitting back like a bunch of angry seagulls just waiting. They're just sitting back here, Leroy. They're just waiting, like, all right, let's see what you got to get out of this one, Chief. And it's like he puts out the first tweet, and they're all just like, not good enough. All right, let me fire. Oh, okay. You guys wanted me to denounce anti-Semitism. Here you go. Can't plead ignorance. It's like, all right, well, what can I do? Like, what do you? It's one of those things where you're already swimming upstream because you're in this thunderdome of people wanting to get you canceled. And you just have all these people, you're canceled, D Wade. It's over. You're canceled. You're on the list. You're just there. And it's just like, look, I'm not canceling D Wade. I don't know what you guys, if that's what you think's happening on this show today, that ain't happening for me. I don't, should he, if a guy, now I will say this, look, if you're I don't know what his relationship is with Nick Cannon. I don't know if they're friends. I don't know if they're famous acquaintances. I don't know. If he wants to throw his support by Nick Cannon, should he know why he's fired? I think it's a fair thing to say. Yeah, probably should have been more informed. But is it possible he didn't know why he was fired and just saw that he was fighting with a major corporation over something he owns? Something that his wife's kind of going through right now with America's Got Talent. Yeah, it's completely possible that happened. And then it's like, all right, well, what about his statements? It's like, I'm waiting for the guy who apologizes well. I'm waiting for the guy who nails it. Waiting for it. I'm still waiting for it. For the one where everybody goes, perfect apology. I think for the most part, just on the small pulse that is what social media was, that's all I had to go off of yesterday. It seems like most people, at least down here, backed off because, again, I do think that he's built up a lot of clout with people down here, and that he's not a guy who people think of this in this regard in any way with being prejudiced or hateful in any way, because that's just not him and hasn't been him.
Here's the other problem, is that one of the things we have to do as a society is you almost have to extend that to everyone, okay? Not just your guy.
That's true.
So what ends up happening is if you only extend those thoughts to somebody you know, then it has a whole different meaning. You know, for example, people say stupid stuff all the time, right? And there's other people that support those people, whether it's friends, whether it's business partners, whether it's whatever. They always come out and say, I didn't know that he had that in him, or he was that type of guy. We don't ever cut them any slack. So understand that what we're saying about D Wade, we know to be accurate. But everybody else is looking at that as saying we're just defending our guy. And if you want people to understand where you're coming from, you sometimes have to do that with the people you don't know. And one of the things that I always say is, look, I don't know this dude, right? For example, we'll take the Drew Brees situation.
Yep.
The first thing I came out was that I have a hard time believing that with what that dude does in the community in New Orleans and how much they love him in New Orleans, that he honestly understood what he was saying. Like, sometimes when you say something, the thought process behind what you're saying doesn't necessarily come across that way.
Yes, I would say I would say, and you're right. And Drew Brees has built up all that clout, and Drew Brees isn't canceled. Like Drew Brees is.
No, I know. Right.
But what I would say with Drew Brees though is, Drew Brees is actually in the storm of the national anthem because he's in the NFL.
Right.
Dwyane Wade can genuinely have ignorance to what Nick Cannon had said within that day.
Right. No. I get it. But I'm always going to be a little cautious to jump down somebody's throat. One, because I know for a fact I've said some stupid things, right? And I know there's enough people that know who I am to know that there's no way in hell he meant to come across that way.
Right.
And they give me the benefit of the doubt. So what I'm doing, regardless,
and I think it should also be pointed out by D Wade is, what he did wasn't apologize, like, because he didn't do anything.
Right, which is even more ridiculous.
This is just what
Nick Cannon wasn't big enough, but D Wade is. So let's take our attention away from Nick Cannon and start blasting D Wade about the comments he made about what somebody else did.
We'll take a break. We're back with more after this. Do you think Dwyane Wade does anything else, Leroy, in the means of a clarification / apology / video? Does anything like come from that from D Wade, or do you think like he made his point, knows that he messed up with the Nick Cannon tweet, made his clarification, blasted anti-Semitism and another tweet, and then just kind of moves on? Like, what do you think? Do you think there's another step here for D Wade, or do you think that again he's
that's it? That's it. Like,
he just moves on.
You apologize. You acknowledge the fact that, no. I was not defending what he said. I was just defending my guy, and you move on. Like, you don't have to keep responding to everybody. Okay? Like, the people you're responding to don't know you anyway. They don't know you from Adam. They're just reading your words. I also don't think that I also don't think there's like, I want to know for people who love D Wade, who followed D Wade for his entire career,
even Jewish Heat fans. I what I guess was that are you mad at D-Wade? Were you disappointed in D-Wade, or does the guy have enough, I guess, credibility built up in his career down here in Miami and his life down here in Miami that you forgive a mistake for him seeming to be pretty ill-informed? Because I just doesn't like Leroy. The idea that Dwyane Wade would support anything that seems like anybody was talking about a group of people, it just doesn't go with what the guy's resume is, especially dealing with the fact that, you know, this is a guy who's been very publicly out in the forefront of defending his trans daughter, knowing that is going to get a lot of the social media hate and bashing left and right too. It just, I acknowledge that, you know, a guy I love and root for made a mistake on social media on being ill-informed of what his guy was in controversy for. Mm-hmm. But man, you know, there's people who want to, like, you know, cancel him and put him in the same rank as the guy who said the thing that did the thing. And I just don't think they're the same. But
you like, you can't fall. Don't go there. Then you can't go there. Like, if people are stupid enough to go after is D-Wade a bigger name than Nick Cannon?
In my world, he is. I mean, I don't know.
In a lot of people's world, and guess what? So they're just going after the bigger name, and that's
they're just going at the new name. Like, it's right. one of those things that swallows the top. It's like one of the things what happened with Deshaun Jackson, and then Steven Jackson said that he was like he's the next thing in line. And this is not what Steven Jackson did either, by the way. With basically saying, like, how come, you know, he shouldn't apologize. He shouldn't say anything for that. Right. You know, that's not what D-Wade did either. And so I think the thing that sucks about all of this, is, from my standpoint as somebody who's not black and not Jewish, I don't want any divisiveness over a guy like D-Wade, who maybe could have influence on different groups of people to understand why you know, equality for black people in this country, why it's important, and maybe people who aren't black will listen to D-Wade. I don't want them now jumping off the ship thinking, oh, he doesn't care about other people's rights. It's the same thing with you know, the people who are trying to use the Hong Kong thing to push down the rights of black people in our country. You know, like, you really should just kind of wrap your arms around all of it, not just because a guy missteps here or missteps there, think that their words aren't valid in other places.
Here, what you have here on Twitter and in the news is that you can pick and choose what portion of a story you want to focus on, what person you want to focus on, what, you know, reality you want to focus on. And if we took every person and lined them up, and you had to hold a card with the worst thing you did in your life, right? How many people would be left there standing, right? And we all say, this guy should know better this guy should know better that. No, we make mistakes. And guess what? And for this guy that says, you're giving Wade a pass but not Drew Brees, you didn't hear me when Drew Brees stuff came out. Because I took the same exact stand as I did with Drew Brees. Like,
yeah, but I'm not gonna. And I see people saying that with the Drew Brees thing. I don't think they're the same thing. I don't think they're the same thing.
They're not, because Drew Brees was the guy who did the talking.
They're not the same. Yes, Drew Brees also, he's the guy who did the talking. Drew Brees has also been on this topic. This has been a topic around his life for years. Right. And he still has a stand. And I think that to me is a big difference in Dwyane Wade possibly being ill-informed on what Nick Cannon got fired for, because there were two sides to the story on the Nick Cannon thing. One, he said some heinous stuff. The other thing is that he's in a fight with CBS to have his what he thinks is his intellectual property kept. So is it possible that he is that Dwyane Wade is just supporting Nick Cannon over that and he wasn't informed of what he said? Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. And do I give him the benefit of the doubt because of his resume and because of of what that guy has stood for most of his career? Yeah, I do. I guess that's okay with me. And if I'm willing to do that because I'm a Heat fan, because I'm a Dwyane Wade fan of the guy, I guess, call me a sucker, call me a hypocrite, what you want to, but I don't want to come with the pitchforks for something that he didn't say, that he clarified, and then denounced anti-Semitism, all within the span of 2 hours. And people want these people like a bunch of locusts on Twitter want answers immediately and fixed, like it's going through. And they're like, look at him deleting the tweet and still retweeting. Look at him. Like, you're all just waiting. Like, we're like jackals waiting for the D Wade apology, waiting for it to be just right. That one wasn't good enough. Better do it again, D Wade. That one wasn't good enough. Try it again, D Wade.
You at that point, you just stop. Right? You just stop, because you look, at some point you have to be honest with yourself and just keep it moving. Right? D Wade came out and said exactly what he meant. Right? He was trying to support his friend without supporting the actions. We don't know what portion of that he was defending Nick Cannon about. And so maybe that required a little clarification.
No, it did.
Which he came out and said, whoa, no. Okay? But once people hook their horns into you, it's never enough. So you can't say anything, and you're never going to say enough. And while I think we know D Wade more down here. There's nothing that I've ever known of D Wade that would let me think or lead me to believe that he would support the comments. Right? That being said, if Nick Cannon is his friend, let's all take our friends and have them do something that's just absurd, ridiculous, racist, or whatever. If you can, after that one moment or that one lapse, say that guy wasn't your friend or that female wasn't your friend, probably wasn't your friend in the first place. And so you can support somebody that does something wrong. And that's what I took from what D Wade said. Now, when you add the caveat of, I wasn't really familiar with what Nick Cannon said, then I said, whoo, D Wade better come out and say he wasn't, condone or supporting that. And he did. And then I heard the rest of the Nick Cannon story, which, who's to say that that's not the only portion of the story that D Wade heard? So yeah, man, just stop. We're all
right.
We're on Twitter every day, right? If we all had to answer to some of the crap we read on Twitter, right? Like, we have to deal with some of the most hateful things people say on Twitter because they don't have a face. And those are the same people that soon as somebody says something remotely vulgar or obscene or racist or whatever, you want to put the face on that. Meanwhile, you're talking and saying things on Twitter, and you can do it without a face.
That concludes famous birthdays today. What are you typing away at? Here you go again.
Almost 9 o'clock, right on the nose.
Almost 9 o'clock, and here you go.
No. So here.
Just say, I'd rather you do it on, just address the text on the air than go hard in the paint.
All right, here we go. Shut up about this, guys. If my white husband does something racist, I can leave his ass. What idiocy, Leroy? And I said, if you know your husband not to be a racist and he does something racist unintentionally, either saying something or doing something, we've all done it, and somebody goes, hey, that's racist, dude. Right? It happens. Like, you're not doing it intentionally. Can you support your husband without supporting the act. If you would leave him, it's because you think he's a racist. And if you would leave him that quick, you want it out anyway. Make sense?
Yeah, look, I think there's stuff I do think there's stuff probably heinous enough in a marriage where if you leave at the drop of a hat, it's cool.
But my point is this. If somebody does something that egregious, then it's because you've seen it all along and it came out to where you're now acknowledging it. You're acknowledging that type of person or the person he is. For example, I use this as an example. You have a husband who's friendly. He flirts with people or whatever. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, my husband would never cheat on me. My wife would never cheat on me. Then you catch him cheating. You out. Because now all those things are coming to the forefront to where you realize, wait a minute, that wasn't just being friendly.
Yeah. Some people would be, and some people wouldn't.
Right. And some people wouldn't. So it's not, look, I'm gonna, just go ahead on and condemn D. Wade for supporting Nick Cannon. I would have been disappointed if he would have came out like Steven Jackson did for Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Watson did nothing.
Deshaun Jackson. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Two different scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
But D. Wade was just supporting Nick Cannon. And somebody texted in, there was a headline that came out and said, Nick Cannon is fighting for his rights to wildin' out. So we don't know if D. Wade read that. We don't know what it was, but he came out and said, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
I was supporting my boy, not that craziness he was talking about.
There is too much. One, I don't know how close him and Nick Cannon are. That's one. Two, I don't know what he knew. I don't know if he only knew the wild and out thing where he was trying to get his rights, or if he did know that he got in trouble. Do I admit that I'm giving him more of the benefit of the doubt because he's Dwyane Wade? Yeah, I'll wear that, I guess, today. But I acknowledge that, also knowing that the guy has been a pretty big pillar against hate speech, groups that are have prejudice against him, and all that type of stuff. He's been pretty great. Is this if are there Jewish Heat fans that are I'm sure upset with him? Yeah, I'm sure there are. There are, because nobody wants to see their heroes let them down. Even if it's a matter of being uninformed.
Right. You ready? Here it is. The reply. It's funny because I'm introducing my husband to you. He's more like you. I'm more like Tobin.
I don't know what that means.
What? Here.
Sounds like
we love your YouTube videos. His white ass always takes Leroy's side. My black ass rides out with Peacock Pirate.
Yeah.
That's funny. Right. Oh, here it is. Here's more of the story.
Okay.
Apparently, Nick Cannon really supported Gabby Union when she was going through that stuff with CBS.
Well, I mentioned that earlier in the show. I didn't know about that, but I know that Gabby is going through a big fight right now with NBC,
right,
with America's Got Talent, because Nick Cannon used to be on America's Got Talent and left because of they didn't like what he was saying on. I think it was a comedy special. That's why he ended up leaving that gig. Right. So, I would guess that in a corporate fight against what am I trying to say? Broadcast channels and those kind of companies, why there would be that kind of support there too. Again, right. It sucks that he wasn't fully informed on the story because of why Nick Cannon got fired. Right. But man, it just doesn't jive with the rest of his life, man. With how right. He's been with all this stuff. And he came out and clarified it. I kind of feel like he Euro stepped it, Leroy. I kind of feel like he went over the head and tossed up Kevin Garnett and laid it in and avoided one.
No,
I don't know.
He didn't. Well, he didn't Euro step nobody. But here, somebody said, "You really believe he didn't know? Delusional." Right. All right.
I guess. I don't know. Like, how can I mean, I don't know how I can defend it. I don't know. I don't know how I can I don't know how I could ever convince that person that, yeah, kind of. I feel like I could understand how he wouldn't know. I could feel like, yes, I could see how he couldn't know. That's, why I didn't want to go on Twitter yesterday spouting opinions about this anyway. Like, I kind of wanted to see how this all was going to play.
Once I see that somebody gets in trouble for stuff like this, if I don't read the whole story, nobody gives a damn what I think.
Well, you guys couldn't tweet for several hours yesterday about that.
Oh, that's right. There was the lockdown the butcher. Who do you think does get to him though? Like, who is the guy who gets to D Wade and is like, and gives him the ring and is like, hey, Dwyane.
I think he sees the blowback. I think he sees it, and you think somebody calls him? I do. You know what? Somebody said Wade should apologize to Mickey. I think he gives Mickey a call to clarify what was going on. I do.
I bet you they've already talked.
Right. And so, again, I'm one of those people that if I do or say something stupid, as long as the people closest to me understand where I'm coming from or what I meant or what I was saying, I'm definitely not caring what random tweet people think or Twitter people think or Facebook or
he literally just
IG.
The Heat have been very big on this wear your mask campaign. And he just had a tweet. I mean, like Mickey Arison has been very big behind the wear your mask campaign and all that type of stuff.
Right.
And they just had D Wade like do this post, and he just put this post of thank you D Wade for being a good example and all that type of stuff. So yeah, the relationship is such. I'm sure that they're going to talk about this.
By the way, did you get my package?
No.
I mailed some to your house.
No, I didn't get it.
Was it from that same company again?
Yeah, I didn't.
No, I mailed it regular mail.
No, I haven't gotten it.
I'm telling you, I sent it Friday. Regular mail.
I should definitely have gotten it. We only live a county away.
But I didn't send it to Brendan Tobin.
Send it to the Peacock Pirate.
Yeah.
You jerk.
Go check it. It might be around your house. Your wife might have.
I'll go check the mailbox right now.
Why would it? You didn't check your mailbox yesterday, dummy?
No, I only check my mailbox every couple of days. It's on the other side of my house. I have a long driveway. It's on the other side of the street.
You got a long
pain in my ass.
Really?
I have to walk all the way down. I have to dodge. I have to go across the street.
No. This text you just sent, was this necessary?
That's not me. Somebody else did that.
Really?
That's one of our listeners, Manny Montana.
That sucks.
I'm retweeting it.
No, come on.
Yep. And the station account too.
Really?
Yep. That's happening.